Welcome back, Captain. How can I be of assistance? Certainly, Captain. I was hoping you would ask.
It was the law-forsaken parasites. I had become obsessed. My quest to stop them. To avenge my partner, Philip. And my ex-partner, Bernice. And Lieutenant Jurgen. And those two informants had brought me to Rizzo's distillery. But it wasn't just the triple distilled deliciousness of Rizzo's Spectrum brand vodka that I found there. It was death. I made sure the Brain Eaters paid the price. But at what cost to me? It's you.
This is the Halcyon News Network with breaking news. Halcyon Helen has been murdered. Administrator Ludovico of Rizzo's refused to answer the big question on everyone's mind. Who will Spectrum Vodka's next spokesperson be? Claiming that a special investigation must be concluded first.
Captain, we have a communication coming in from one Administrator Ludovico.
Get off the transmission, Cedric. We agreed to let me do the negotiating. Law be with you, friend. I am Administrator Ludovico of the famed Eridanos Atmospheric Complex. But there's no need to stand on formality. You may address me as Mr. Halcyon Helen is dead. Murdered. Her death is the tragedy of our lifetime. As the face of our new product line, her murder is a stain on the Rizzo's brand. She was scheduled to unveil our newest product, Spectrum Brown, before this tragic event. But we cannot move forward with our unveiling until we apprehend the killer.
All right, Ludovico, that's enough. You don't know what you're doing. Let me handle this. Captain Hawthorne, Sublight's favorite freelancer. I'm such an admirer of your work. Cedric Kincannon, Sublight Underground. I'm so glad we're hiring a third-party investigator. No one wants to see a troop of UDL guards stomping all over my hotel. Least of all me. The murder of Halcyon Helen is a heinous assault on this colony. I look forward to watching you find the miscreant responsible and drag them out of the shadows. Two-bit actor. Oh, Captain. This isn't Spencer Woolrich we're talking about. This is Halcyon Helen, Princess of Periodicals, Duchess of Dramaturgy. You would not believe the money she made us on Dissident Busters.
For law's sake, Cedric, could you show a little discretion and not bring up your contraband operations in front of an outsider?
Ludovico, you wound me. I'm establishing rapport with our new contractor. Let's not give him the impression that you can't be trusted.
Do you really want to do this right now, Cedric? You want to antagonize me while I'm negotiating a contract? Because I promise you, I'll win.
We can do this anytime you want. I'll even make an appointment. I'm sure your schedule's wide open. What with your product launch being indefinitely delayed due to unforeseen murder.
All right, Cedric. If that's how you want to behave, I have no choice but to file an official reprimand on your permanent record.
Oh, please do. I'd love an official reprimand from a failed executive. Could you do me a favor and have it laminated?
Could we please stop this nonsense? Captain, I'm Constable Maria Keene. Hiring a third-party investigator was my idea. I've been studying your dossier. You are an extraordinary scientist. If your talents extend to forensics, then you may be exactly what we need. As far as I'm concerned, you're the ideal inspector for this case. I hate to admit it, but I'm a little out of my depth here. I'm used to dealing with rowdy VIPs from Byzantium, not murder. Please, Captain, I'm asking you to help us. While you're pursuing your investigation, we'll make you a guest of honor at the Grand Colonial.
The future of our complex may depend on your success. I'll leave you in the constable's care. Mr. Kincannon and I must have a word.
Fine. But Rizzo's is paying for that hotel room.
I can't tell you how grateful I am for your help. And even though they may not show their gratitude, I know Administrator Ludovico and Mr. Kincannon appreciate your involvement. Mr. Kincannon could lose his spaceport if board authorities took over the investigation, and if Rizzo's is forced to cancel its unveiling, we might never recover. Helen was more than popular. She gave something to this colony that no product line could ever provide. Real happiness. No one has ever been as well known or as well loved. Outside of our courageous business leaders. I represent the law, Captain. But what's happening between Mr. Kincannon and the Administrator is politics. Politics are not my area of expertise. The law is simple. Politics are complicated. I'm pleased to hear that. From everything I've heard, you're a competent freelancer. And at the risk of sounding impertinent, we desperately need the help of someone competent. Thank you for your time, Captain. Whenever you're ready, I've authorized the Unreliable to land at the Grand Colonial.
Transmission terminated. Captain, we are now cleared to land at the Eridanos atmospheric complex. We've touched down on the atmospheric complex in Eridanos. Stay safe out there.
Watch out. This place is half sublight thugs and half top-rungers on vacation. Both are dangerous.
Hello there. Hope your atmospheric entry wasn't too troublesome. As a guest of honor, you deserve the best in comfort. Sublight Salvage and Shipping Underground, or Slug, as we like to call ourselves, is delighted to welcome you to Eridanos. I'm the Grand Colonial Head Bellhop. I'm here to grab your bags and direct you, the inspector, to the Grand Ballroom, which was the scene of the crime. I can try. I was the one who found Helen's body in the Grand Ballroom. Corpse wasn't in the best shape. Aside from that, I don't know a whole lot. Helen was supposed to host the unveiling for Rizzo's newest product, Spectrum Brown. Until you catch the killer, the unveiling's been indefinitely postponed. Helen's death has been a shock for many. A lot of people are inconsolable. Hell, even Black Hole Birdie, Helen's beau, has wandered off. Some folks think he had something to do with the murder, but I don't believe it.
He did it. It's always the boyfriend.
We should ask if they're comping the minibar. This might take a while, if you get me.
Ah, I like where your head's at. These things take time. Weeks, I'd wager.
Folks get heated when it comes to serials and their actors, I suppose. Not particularly. But I think some folks were jealous of her success, or otherwise viewed her as a threat. Reckon how she came about her fame didn't help. Why, she was a natural. People fell in love with her. She managed to wrangle up a following all on her own. She ended up about as famous and high-runged as your average VP, which rubbed a lot of Byzantines the wrong way. Actors ain't supposed to get preferential treatment. Let's see here. Oh, I already spoke briefly about the Spectrum unveiling, or lack thereof. It's still an awful shame. A lot of folks looking forward to that. I do. Rizzo's happened to rent out the Grand Colonial Ballroom from Slug for the unveiling. A nice mutually beneficial event. But the murder's gone and ruined that. Along with 9 out of 10 of my favorite serials. Anyway, I think I've held you up long enough. Once you're ready, head down to the lobby. The ballroom is just behind the elevators. Meanwhile, I'll grab your bags. You're making fun, right? Your luggage, belongings, kit, wherever you keep what you ain't wearing. You're still giving me a pretty blank look. Suppose it's none of my business, but do you just wear the same set of clothes all the time? See, you say that, but I still ain't seen no bags. Know what? Never mind, it's not my business. Anyhow, I'll look for you in the grand ballroom later. Hope you can unravel this mystery, Inspector.
Had something in my ear. I could have sworn you just said we aren't allowed to depart.
Greetings, Inspector. No need to check in here. Your paperwork has all been processed. You should be able to find the Colonial right ahead.
I've been starting to play a little game as we travel. You might be a top runger if your hotel is taller than the highest mountain on Monarch.
On Helen could meet a fate like this.
It really is.
I wish I'd worn my muddy boots and the jacket with holes in.
I'll bet you 10 bits this is all just some sort of publicity stunt.
Black Hole Birdie's disappeared, you know. That poor fellow must be inconsolable.
Oh, thank the law. Inspector, you don't know how relieved I am to see you. I'm pleased to hear that. Our coroner has developed a device which may prove useful in your investigation. Our office has instructed her to hand it over to you.
Our office has instructed her to hand it over to you. Oh, please. You make it sound as if I'm turning over stolen goods. Behold, my discrepancy amplifier. Hold it in your hands. Feel the way it hums with ontological potential. You're rather sharp in your upper story. I can see why you're the inspector. The discrepancy amplifier uses a deterministic model of our universe to detect the discrepancy between what should be and what actually is. Then it renders any discrepancies visible by using the power of magnification. Go on then. Give it a try. Just treat the amplifier as you would a weapon. Hold it good and steady and look down scope.
I'm contractually prohibited from endorsing off-brand technology, but I'll bend that rule just this once. You'll want to peer into the amplifier and examine the crime scene.
This unit has detected a discrepancy related to Halcyon Helen. Unscheduled expiration of. Begin amplification. The discrepancy amplifier has been programmed with advanced speech recognition, scientific analysis, and deterministic calculus protocols.
Oh, you'll love this. Amplifier, tell the inspector about your features.
Please do not interrupt the discrepancy amplifier. The discrepancy amplifier is programmed to take instruction from its registered or designated inspector.
How curious. I must have set its impertinence levels to flagrant.
This unit's features include an automated personality simulator. This unit has been programmed to simulate joy and satisfaction in assisting you. This footprint stands out from the normally spotless floor of the grand ballroom. Typically, the ballroom is cleaned twice daily, which means this must have been made by either Helen or her assailant or assailants. Footprint is a tailor-made 8.75, suggesting that its owner was very particular about their shoe size. It is also the exact size that Halcyon Helen typically prefers. There are traces of dirt throughout the footprint. The dirt carries traces of fertilizer, as well as the faint signs of crushed purpleberries and grass. Grass, fertilizer, and purpleberries can all be found in the purpleberry orchards, located not far from the Grand Colonio. This deduction appears sound.
Good work, Inspector. I had a feeling we'd make some progress once we brought you onto the case. You'll need Administrator Ludovico to grant you access to the orchards. Contact him through the secure access terminal in your penthouse suite. Check in with the concierge. Your room should be ready by now. If it isn't, I may have to go shake someone by the collar.
This is a bottle of unreleased Rizzo's product. Helen appears to have attempted to use it to spell something as she expired, but all she managed was a sticky bee. This hypothesis is plausible, but requires additional information. This evidence has been recorded for later reference. Now generating pre-approved complement. Splendid work, Inspector.
I'm sorry, sir, but while the hotel is an active crime scene, I regret to inform you that all new bookings, room upgrades, room downgrades, and in-room massages are Oh, you're the special inspector. Mr. Kincannon warned me you'd be checking in soon. Ah, yes. We are most pleased to offer you our grandest of grand accommodations, Inspector. The penthouse suite on our topmost floor is now available for you. The last guest left her belongings behind when she vacated unexpectedly, so we needed a little time to tidy the suite up for you. Simply call the elevator in the lobby, and our highly skilled operator will deliver you to your private floor with efficiency and cheer.
We should try to solve it.
What floor would you like to visit? Next stop, the finest seat in the house.
Helen, where did we go wrong? Oh, Lowell, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for... Helen, I love you. I love you so much.
The Grand Colonial Front Desk warmly welcomes you, Inspector. It's a pleasure to see you again. How may I be of assistance to you, Inspector? My apologies, Inspector, but that would be a severe violation of guest privacy. We here at the Grand Colonial firmly believe that... All right, my supervisor just walked out of earshot. Some folks just don't understand the importance of gossip. About whom? And what would you wish to know? You know, out of everyone here, I probably knew the least about Helen. I'm not much of an Aetherwave watcher myself. And Helen always had a crowd of admirers chasing her, you see. So she rarely stopped to chat. Friendly enough, surely, but always seemed untouchable. Emphasis on seemed. Now that you mention it, she was usually calm and collected, but every so often I'd see her looking all wild-eyed and intense. It seemed as if she was determined about something. Or maybe she was just hungry? That woman ordered a lot of food. Maybe show business gives you a faster metabolism. Ah, Birdie. Is he bigger than he is dumb, or dumber than he is big? I've a bet with a friend. Not sure we'll ever get it to pay out. Birdie used to be Helen's beau, though he isn't anymore, and not just because she's dead. If I had 1,000,000 bits, I'd spend every one just to learn what caused their split. If looks could kill, he'd have put her in the ground 10 times over. Man's clearly jealous of her success compared to his. See, I'd bet we're the only two people thinking about him in all of Eridanos. And I only am because you mentioned his name. If you leave woolly cow milk out, it turns to curds. Leave the curds out, they begin to get stale, then rot. Woolridge is on his way to the trash bin, and everyone knows it. Either he's in denial, or he knew Helen would be checking out soon, judging by his increasing demands for a room upgrade. That's a shame, Inspector. What if I wanted to know a little about you? A dashing gunslinger type, then. I'm sure the investigation will turn out splendidly in your hands. Or at least Mr. Kincannon seems confident enough to believe so. It certainly is a marvel of modern ingenuity, luxury, and ambition. Please, allow me to answer any curiosities you might have about our building and the amenities on offer. Who would be interested in a staff-only area? Most folks never ask about the sewers beneath Rizzo's plant, either. Of interest to your investigation? Well, I suppose there is that one door we're not supposed to open. But I'm sorry, Inspector, I'm not authorized to grant you access to any staff sections of the hotel. You'll have to find a way in on your own. Most certainly. All the important folks can be found in the utmost parts of the hotel. You can hardly walk 3 feet without bumping into a tossball grate or a bored exec. Though maybe don't bump into them. Could be harmful to your health. Twice the size of the next biggest room, and kitted out with any amenity you want, as well as many that you won't. Best to enjoy it while you can, Inspector. Typically, the only people who can afford the penthouse suite have enough bits to suffocate everyone on Terra 2. Also, please inform me if Woolridge gives you a hard time about getting a better room than his. Don't tell him I said this, but everyone on staff wants to strangle him. If you're sure.
Oh, Inspector, I was hoping I could have a word with you. I wanted to thank you for cooperating with us. Helen's death was never your concern, but you agreed to help us all the same. It is I will be plain with you, this case is outside my purview. I'm accustomed to dragging rowdy guests into my office for paperwork and processing. I am not prepared to investigate the murder of a beloved actress. Before you arrived on this case, I had identified 2 key suspects, Black Hole Bertie Holcomb and Spencer Woolrich. I've since eliminated Woolrich. Mr. Woolrich was Halcyon Helen's professional rival. It's possible jealousy drove him to take Helen out of the picture. I apologize for the wordplay. Conversely, Mr. Bertie Holcomb was Helen's paramour. The relationship was reportedly dissolved. I can't rule out her murder as a crime of passion. Woolrich thinks of himself as a serious and distinguished actor. He was frequently cast in demeaning roles, while Helen played the charismatic heroine. He has reason to be envious. I considered the possibility that Woolrich killed Helen in order to eliminate a rival and advance his own career. But my reasoning collapsed under closer scrutiny. Woolrich owes his career to Helen's dramas. Her death likely harms his long-term prospects. I'm struggling to determine a motivation for him, so I've largely ruled him out. Best of luck, Inspector.
The Purpleberry Orchards. And a footprint. Inspector, that was absolutely marvelous. Beautifully deduced. With the help of my discrepancy amplifier, of course. Ah, I was waiting for this. Yes, of course. I'm only too eager to cooperate. My apologies, Inspector. I've not yet finished my autopsy. Come back later?
But we're in the middle of a lockdown. No one's supposed to be coming or going. And when I can't get a hold of anyone in the orchards, I can't make sure of that, can I?
No, Miss Vargas. Sorry, I'll work on getting a hold of someone.
Great, you do that. I'll be waiting right here. Swear to the architect, Matthias, if you've lost your rifle's ionization coil again. Oh, wait, you ain't part of my crew. What do you want? An idiot. I suspect he's avoiding me, actually, which is the first smart thing he's done all month. Sorry, but do you need something? Between the landing pad, lockdowns, gate closures, and constant questions from angry guests, I've got a lot on my plate. And if that don't beat all, one of my crew is AWOL. If you're serious, I'd appreciate the help. He's been missing a few days, and we're low on staff as it is. The missing crew member's Evan O'Connell. He's one of about 2 slug agents I can trust with more complex tasks than stand here and look tough. Friendly type. Well-behaved, followed orders. Anyone else, I'd think they got drunk and fell asleep in a ditch somewhere, but O'Connell's not really the type. He was last stationed at the Wilderness checkpoint. I'd search there first.
Whoa, it's Rizzo's! Welcome to the Purpleberry Nut Hut, you wonderful, wonderful customer! Thank you for giving my humble existence value.
You, doing all right?
I sure am! Good lamps you got on you to take notice. Oh, that? I call it my little passenger. I don't know why. The name just appeared in my head when this thing showed up on my neck. Don't you dare! Or I'll cut something off you! Gosh, I'm sorry. I don't know where that came from. I just felt this urge to protect my little passenger, even if it means hurting you. Couple of days. Ever since it showed up, I've been feeling happier and happier. I really can't imagine life without my little passenger. I don't know. It just appeared one day. I guess I just picked it up while working in the orchards. Sometimes I wonder how it showed up, and I start to worry. But worrying feels bad, and I hate feeling bad. So I don't worry about it. Now I'd love to get you something. Maybe a couple somethings? Whatever you like, I can sell it to you at a low, low price. No, I'm sorry. The only celebrity who shopped recently is Black Hole Birdie. Quite the affable man, as it so happens. And the stories are wrong. He could probably lift 2 benches of tossball players at once, not just one. Laws, not just affable, but virile, too. Ooh, wait a minute. Now that his beau's dead, that means Birdie's single. Maybe I'll strike up a little more than conversation the next time he comes by. Oh my! Birdie, a murderer? Well, everyone has their flaws. I'll be sure not to bring it up on our first date. I'm so glad you asked. The orchards are my 3rd favorite subject, with my first being Rizzo's refreshing drinks and my second being Rizzo's toothsome confectionaries. Our orchards are the source of 63% of Rizzo's total produce, which correlates to 112% of fresh goods throughout all of Halcyon. Give or take a few percent, of course. If you want to know more about each part of the orchards, might I recommend one of our fantastic tours? One of our options is even audio-guided as a special bonus feature. Oh, I'm so glad you said that. Our tours are my 4th favorite subject. Every part of the orchards is so rich with Rizzo's lore. Buy a tour ticket and anoint yourself with knowledge. We have 3 tour options: Premium, Premium Plus, and the Golden Ticket. Each option is wonderful in its own special way. Premium includes a 10-minute pass to the Sprat Petting Zoo. Premium Plus comes with the novelty Purpleberry and Amber, and the Golden Ticket is audio-guided in addition to being self-guided. Which kind would you like? You're in luck. We have 1 left. Normally they're 100 bits, but seeing how I'm sold out of everything else, I can give it to you for just 90. How does that sound? That's great. Thank you so much. No, I'm sorry. The only and the stories are wrong. He could probably...
Here we have the Rizzo's Purpleberry Nut Hut trademark. All manner of cool drinks and sweet treats are available at nominal cost to slake your thirst and satiate your hunger. These include, but are not limited to, Rizzo's Nanner Spank Fresh, Spanks Even Harder, Rizzo's Ground Up, Pound Up fruit drinks made with mostly berries and twigs, and Rizzo's Mini Purpleberry Sweet Balls. We hope your visit here will stifle any unlawful urges to pick fruit in the orchards.
Maybe I could hold up my end if your people weren't sabotaging my operations. And if sabotaging the orchards weren't enough, you had to make it personal. You really had to bust my Insta coffee maker too? The nerve.
Hold that asinine thought. Who is this armed stranger who just wandered into your office? Back up for a fight you can't finish?
What the hell are you talking about? I don't know this fella. I think it's mightily more likely that he's under your payroll. Here to burn down what you haven't already.
I see. Just a visitor, then. Congratulations, Hathaway. Not everyone's abandoned your orchards.
Well, shame that you're trying to change that. Anyway, sorry for the heated reception, stranger. There's just been some trouble here of late. Name's Overseeing Orchardist Hathaway, and I'm in charge of these orchards. Though it seems like certain groups, which will remain unnamed, are trying to change that. Looks like I'm stuck playing the part of customer service rep. Guess it's different from the usual, at least. Something I can do for you? Yeah, I saw her. Tried to flag her down for an autograph, but to no avail. Ran right by me. No idea where she was heading. Seemed like she had a lot on her mind. Yeah. Just another woe to add to the pile. In the past, the Orchard subcontracted security work from Slug. You know, keep the malcontents on staff from causing too much trouble. But between the Spectrum Brown unveiling demanding all of our resources and the recent uptick in worker accidents, we just ain't got the budget for security. And, of course, Slug has decided that instead of being reasonable, they're just gonna sabotage our operations until we start paying them again.
Look at the poor Rizzo's manager, lying about Sublight to make himself feel better. Shame he skipped where Rizzo's was short on our payments months before the new unveiling.
Look, at the end of the day, it's obvious that Slug is sabotaging us. I ain't paying until they come clean. Thank the law, some good news. You hear that, lapdog? Truth's coming. Better fess up while you still can outside of an interrogation room.
While I'm sure you'd love to have a scapegoat on whom you can pin your own incompetence, I suspect you'll be disappointed. But what do I know? I suppose it's up to your new hiree. I'm sorry you had to come in on such a brusque conversation. Not everyone appreciates the work Slug does on Eridanos.
Especially not folk that Slug is trying to extort.
All right, it seems I need to say it yet again. We're not stomping upon your purple berries or knocking your workers off the planetoid. All we want is for you to pay your dues.
And I want you to stop setting our exterminator mechanicals loose and breaking our machinery.
This is how the conversation has gone for the last hour and a half. As you can see, it hasn't been terribly productive. Well, he's being difficult, as you've no doubt seen. All I'm here to do is enforce an agreed-upon business relationship. But our friend here is disinclined to settle.
Don't tell me to settle. Why don't you settle?
Yes, I'll be sure to do that. I know what you must be thinking, but no, I'm not here to atomize his kneecaps. I just want Slug to get what we're owed. If I hear that question one more time, I swear. Look, we just want to get paid. Hampering our clients' productivity is not a good way to get paid. In fact, it's bad business. Do I? Didn't realize that expecting my company to be paid for its work was extortion. You should try telling that to the board. Regardless, Slug's protection service has ensured that Rizzo's has had zero problems with its shipments at the docks, and all for a reasonable price. We haven't been hostile when their payments came up short either. In fact, Rizzo's is more of a danger to the orchards than us, considering all the workplace injuries. Much as we love giving the bureaucrats 29% of our profits, technically not. Official contracts have some rather obscene fees and documentation. Instead, our company's opted for a non-official manager's agreement. I'm just here to make certain our friend over there pays on time. You're weird. Generous, but weird. The sentiment is nice, but Rizzo's doesn't just pay money. They're also literally our meal tickets. Unless you also happen to own an orchard, I don't think you can clear this guy. Yes, I think we've spoken enough about that imbecile. What can Slug do for you? Nope. Sorry, but this is the first I've visited this area in over a month. Shame about Helen. Liked her movies.
I could never get past her hair. No one having that many gunfights could have hair that perfect.
Celebs as big as Helen always seem to elicit strong binary opinions in people. But that's neither here nor there. You're welcome to. I don't have any secrets. Certainly. When I'm not out on a job, they usually stick me in the Slug mess hall. I may be a service collector, but that doesn't mean I can't make a damn fine tripa-kale pie. You're welcome to. I don't have any secrets. Nothing that you couldn't observe yourself. I try not to spend much time here. Hate the outdoors. If you haven't already noticed, these orchards are more of a wreck than even some of the cities on Monarch. Mismanagement, I suspect.
Whew. After Emerald Vale, Amber Heights, and Bayside Terrace, I was expecting Purpleberry Orchards to be another flowery name for a shithole. But this is nice.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. These footprints match the shoes previously analyzed in the Grand Ballroom. There is a 110% chance with a 10% margin of error that they were left by Ruth Bellamy, the actress known as Halcyon Helen.
Anything interesting? You can tell all that? Still, I wonder what she was doing out here.
Well, sweet hello there, valued visitor. I am sure sorry to break it to you, but our orchards are closed to all officially guided tours at this precise moment in time.
I don't know what's wrong with him, but let's keep our distance.
Why, thank you! Rizzo's encourages all workers to put on a happy face when engaging with valued customers. Rizzo's does beseech you to please purchase one of our self-guided options if you're wishing to join one of our rejuvenative, relaxing, reformatory tours. Now with a Puzzle Hedges trademark maze hunt and special edition taste testing for an extra 35 bits a ticket. What kind of investigation? You wouldn't happen to be from the health inspection office, would you? Oh, drat. This distresses me, and I do not like feeling cross. I warned the orchardist this could happen when we halted our monthly bribe to Slug. They were always a reliable go-between, regarding inspections before now. So, what might you be looking to find out, Mr. Inspector? Well, you are in luck. She passed right by here the other day. I thought she'd hired a private tour at first, but it was Dr. Blossom who was showing her the way to the RR and DD labs. Can't imagine why she'd need to meet with our head researcher on the Spectrum product line outside of her lab hours. Unless, of course, it had to do with the new product unveiling. That's right. She was. She sure made for some lovely adverts. Maybe it might have involved an issue with the launch batch then? I can't rightly say. All I know is one of our certified tour guides could have given her a much more comprehensive tour of the grounds were that her interest. Can't say that I have. We use bad batches of liquor for our pesticides. Only the exterminator mechanicals are armed around here. And I haven't seen any bloody objects aside from the usual pair of gardening shears. Unless, that is, Miss Helen was also stung to death by pollinization mosquitoes? She wasn't, was she? That would be a mighty wretched way to go. Pollinization by killer mosquitoes, indeedy. It's cutting-edge Rizzo's technology. But don't you worry, valued visitor. Our pollinization cycles only run when the orchards are empty, for safety reasons. When a pollinization cycle finishes or is aborted, all mosquitoes are biologically programmed to return to the hive, their holding pen. Of course, the very last thing Rizzo's would want is a beloved tourist bumbling into the hive and triggering an unscheduled cycle. So you'd best steer clear of it for safety. You'll know the hive by its big, glimmering electric fencing. Well now, you certainly are an individual of refined taste. There are folks who defend the premium option and its sprat petting zoo, but once you've been bit by one sprat, you've been bit by them all. Of course, tours of any access level must be suspended during a scheduled pollinization cycle. Our mosquitoes are quite territorial and have been known to sting both workers and visitors alike. Of course. An excellent decision you most certainly won't have cause to regret. Now, presently, you're standing smack dab in the pride and joy of Rizzo's nearly natural product development sector. We call this fecund landscape the Purple Berry Orchards, since that's our main crop. But we also sow and grow mock apples, nanners, pea-free nuts, tarmac, and more. Yes, indeedy. I've got the wondrous honor of having just been promoted to third keeper of the grounds after the last one disappeared on the job. Gosh, I guess about a week ago now? Before my morning clogging last Sunday, I was but a lowly nanner peeler picker on the line shift. Now I'm responsible for growing every twig and berry on this vast swath of fertile land. Heaven sweet, no. It's not like he was murdered. He simply disappeared without a trace and hasn't been heard from since. And the groundkeeper before that one? Well, she wasn't missing at all. Her body was found near hive control, covered head to toe in thousands of welts. No mystery, and certainly no murder with what happened there. I mean, you can't exactly hold some mosquitoes on trial. Accidents do happen on the job. Why would I? I am daily filled with bursting happiness by bringing to fruition my life's purpose. This job is a blessing. In fact, I can't say I've ever been merrier in my whole life. I reckon you could talk to my supervisor, the overseeing orchardist. He would know more. I used to ask questions, but gee, I just don't feel the urge to anymore. I do hope this pleasant conversation has made me useful to you. Rizzo's likes it when we're useful to customers, and I like anything Rizzo's likes. I can't stop you from poking around, but do be mindful of our pollinization hive. Mosquitoes tend towards aggressive at the best of times. There's a reason why we keep him behind an electric fence, you know.
Rizzo's would be remiss to fail to mention the Orchard Storage Warehouse. Without this impressive-looking building, there would simply be no orchards. Gaze in amazement at the impressive construction of the front door, the sleek roof and glittering piping, the lush walls keeping this gem hidden from the rest of the orchards. This warehouse is truly, truly a wonder. One can only guess at the secrets contained within.
Hey! Oh, wait. I'm supposed to say the slogan. Okay, you can do this, Anna. Here goes. It doesn't matter if you're you or me. We're all part of the Rizzo's family. How was that?
About as good as any other slogan.
No jest? Well, that's a wager I sure would have lost. Guess even a busted spectrometer can be right if you hold it to the light, huh? I'm sure you've guessed it, but I'm not the best at remembering slogans. And when I can't remember them, I tend to just make them up. But I guess that's why I'm just an intern and not a full-timer. At least, not yet. Oh yes, I thought I saw someone who looked self-important enough to be her by the conservatory some time ago. Not to speak ill of the dead. I simply never liked the way she stole the limelight from the true star. Burbage 3001. I certainly am. That aerodynamic chassis, how the light glints off his rotund head, the way he enunciates, cry havoc, and let loose the canids of war. Excuse me, I got a little lightheaded there. Nobody does Shakespeare like Burbage. What were we talking about? Who? I suppose so. I also suppose Helen won't be stealing the limelight ever again. What? No, that's ridiculous. I can't tell you I've never made any mistakes, but it'd be pretty hard to keep my job if I were trying to break everything. Though there was the time I tried to fix a broken hinge on one of our mosquito hives and released a swarm. Chased me around the orchards 3 times before I managed to get help. Don't I know it? Worker friend of mine ran afoul of one of the swarms and had to get new kidneys. Not due to renal failure, but because the mosquitoes kept stinging his kidneys. Don't worry though, mosquitoes are typically only about when living folks aren't in the orchards. I am contractually obligated to tell you that mosquitoes never get out during visiting hours. But when they do, the only way to get them to return is to go directly to hive control and activate emergency recall. Which isn't easy, considering all the hives near control. But this is all a departure from what I wanted to say. I've been trying to help the orchards, not harm them. Hold a moment. You haven't found anything, have you? But there's nothing to come clean about. I've just been doing my best out here. It's not so different from being a regular worker, just with less pay and less respect. Oh, it's also more dangerous than traditional employment. You don't have the experience to back up your work yet, but being fired isn't any less threatening. Work-wise, I do a bit of everything. The orchards have been short-staffed as long as I've been working here. So if there's an odd job around, it usually gets passed to me. Happy to enlighten you on the fascinating world of internships. Let me know if there's anything I can help you with. Unless you already have, and I've forgotten. In which case, I probably won't forget a second time.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Congratulations, Inspector. You've discovered more footprints belonging to the deceased actress known as Halcyon Helen.
Stand in awe before our huge Rizzo's Hothouse Conservatory trademark. This building hosts almost as many plant breeds as we have delicious products. Almost. Are you wondering about that omnipresent warm and fragrant mist? That's just our all-natural fertilizing spray, made of pureed Cysty Pig waste products. From nature, back to nature. Our spray is part of the cycle of life. Note, Rizzo's discourages inhalation of its safe and natural liquid fertilizer. In case of accidental inhalation, please record any unusual effects and give that record to the nearest Rizzo's employee as quickly as possible. Remember, you are part of the Rizzo's family. Be kind to your family.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Congratulations, Inspector. You've discovered more footprints belonging to the deceased actress known as Halcyon Helen.
Hey, what are you doing in here? Are you authorized to be in the conservatory? Are you trying to give me a heart attack? Are you my ex-wife? No, she fell off the side of Eridanos under mysterious circumstances 6 years ago, conveniently rendering our marriage contract null. You must be the new, groundskeeper? That can't be it either, seeing how the new one hasn't died yet. Just who are you? Merciful law, that sounds like a lot of philosophism, which is highly outlawed throughout Halcyon. But I won't report you, considering how heavily armed you are. Bleeding hell. Standing up like this makes a body forget how stiff he gets, bent over plants all day. Oh, seems I'm not as young as I feel. Indeed. Tromped in and out of the conservatory with no heed for anyone else. Good thing none of my charges were damaged. Starlet or not, I would have had a harsh word for her. I heard she pushed her way into a tour of the RR&DD labs not soon after. She's just a serial actress. Yet she acts like she's deserved of the same access as a co-CEO. Well, she's not going anywhere ever again, which is a shame, of course. Taken too soon and all. I sit inside and I look at plants. Goal is usually to make Rizzo's fruit products hardier and sweeter, but For every success, there are a couple of hundred failures. Example, tried breeding native Tripicale with a foreign strain. Would have called it Hexticale. In the end, it bred so fast, workers were swallowed up before they could harvest it. That one, I think, can be attributed to the Waspitos. Some lament their irritability, but their productivity is unmatched. What's a few dead workers in the architect's designs? You'd be the first to. Everyone else just says, I got bark instead of a heart. They just don't understand me, not like my plants do.
You're back, I see. Glad Slug hasn't managed to scare you off.
I think it's more of a wonder that nothing in these law-forsaken orchards has managed to kill them.
How's the investigation going? You got a complete report for me yet? All right, let's hear the details. A drink? I ain't never heard of no saboteur dumping drinks all over equipment to destroy it. I hate to say it, but that sounds more like worker carelessness.
How many times do I have to tell you this, old man? Slug isn't behind your problems. Slug wouldn't even need to cause you problems. Your own workers do enough.
Ha! Knew Slug was behind the damn sabotage.
Please. We're subtle, but that's too subtle. If we wanted to destroy your saplings, you'd have known them by the blackened remnants of their stems, not some half-assed poisoning.
I see you left a few of them intact even. Smashed more than I'd like, but I guess I'm glad you didn't obliterate them all.
Never did like leaving a job half-finished myself. But that's me.
So what were the fine details of the sabotage anyhow? Were Slug's lackeys trying to get the mechanicals to kill all our Waspitos? Reckon they've got something in common with the Waspitos then. Probably why Slug just set the mechanicals to attack everything. Eventually, they'd kill our pollinizers.
In your delusional fantasy, the Waspitos wouldn't be out until next pollinization cycle. Wouldn't someone notice the rampant mechanicals beforehand?
That seems like a question you should be asking yourself. Well, yes, it's possible to manually start and end cycles in hive control, but we keep a careful watch on it. And there have been no non-Rizos personnel in or out.
Stop wasting everyone's time, Hathaway. What you're proposing is infinitely less likely than an idiot maneuver by one of your incompetent workers. I won't hear any further slander. Let's go through this one final time so even you can't confuse it, Hathaway. Slug didn't do a damn thing to your orchards. You're chasing ghosts.
Talk about ghosts all you like, but someone was screwing with my orchards. If it wasn't Slug, then who the hell was it? You picked a hell of a time to lose your tongue over there, friend. I guess I can't force you to tell me anything, but the peace of mind would have been worth much to me. Right now, we of the orchards have to settle things with Slug. I reckon that you're about as impartial a third party as we're gonna get. Can you mediate?
Ah, what the hell. The orchardist seems to get off on complicating what should be a simple deal, but at this point, I just want to be paid and go. The pollen in the air is agitating.
Hey, would you look at that? All of a sudden, I have an urge to just pay Slug. How about that?
Yes, and Slug will go back to making sure your shipments get safely to you. That's satisfactory, right, Inspector? Right?
You are not the first person to have considered an act of subterfuge. Please direct your attention to this nearby floor panel. This floor panel is 0.3 millimeters shorter than regulation length, suggesting unauthorized modification.
They got the drop on us. Armor! Don't mess with us.
Timeline discrepancy detected. Analysis confirms this is Evan O'Connell. Analysis also confirms he is dead. Per additional study of this body's skeletal structure, the cause of death was head trauma. That is correct. Evan was not killed by Eridanium gigaseus. However, Eridanium gigaseus do appear to be responsible for the early decomposition of this body's surface tissue. Further analysis indicates Evan's fatal injuries were sustained from blunt force trauma to the back of the skull, and his head collided with the ground. There are traces of blood on Evan's hands, Inspector. Analysis concludes this blood is human, type A. Medical records indicate Evan O'Connell's blood is type O. Medical records indicate Amelia Stillwell's blood is indeed type A. Great work, Inspector. If you wish to question Amelia Stillwell, Slug's scheduling records indicate that she is presently on duty at the Pilot House checkpoint.
Non-Slug personnel aren't permitted on the Pilot House. Can I help you with something? Sure. He in trouble or something? You're kidding! Evan's dead? That doesn't... I don't understand. Can I ask what happened? Because he got drunk on the job. He was supposed to haul crates with me, but he was sauced. So I took him to the hotel to sleep it off. Left him on one of the beds in A2. He seemed fine. You won't believe me if I tell you. You what? Well, shit. Maybe you will believe me. I walked Evan to A2, like I said, and then, out of nowhere, he just came at me. One minute he's laughing and yelling about sharing his joy, and the next, he's choking the life out of me. Grinned the whole time he was trying to kill me, too. Dumb luck, I guess. I got a good hit in, threw him off, and ran like hell. If I'd known the fall killed him, I don't know. I should have told someone. What do you want to know? Because Evan would never attack anyone. I barely believe he attacked me, and I was there. Guess it shook me up pretty good. Evan's always been a total sweetheart. I don't get it. So, what happens now, Inspector? But I killed him. It's my fault he died. I guess so. Doesn't make me feel much better about it, though. I just wish I could understand why he did what he did. Evan is... he was my friend. Or I thought he was. I don't know. I hope you're able to make more sense of this than I can, Inspector.
Hope you've been...
Inspector, you find my missing man? Shit, That's fucking inconvenient. What happened? No shit. I gotta tell you, Evan's never been written up for so much as an impolite look. He attacked her? You sure? Damn. Okay. Thanks for looking into this. You saved me a lot of legwork. Law, you want to hear what's really tragic? We were short-staffed already. Now I gotta figure out who the fuck's replacing Evan. A new day, a new pain in my ass.
The Grand Colonial Front Desk warmly welcomes you, Inspector. It's a pleasure to see you again. How may I be of assistance to you, Inspector? I'd love to, Inspector, but I don't really have the authority. Moreover, the guests were promised exclusivity. If I let you up there, I'll never hear the end of it. That's a good point. If they give me guff, I can just tell them that they're obstructing justice. That has a nice ring to it. Let me just set you up with VIP guest floor access. Done. You can now come and go as you please.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. The charred fragments of a letter lies at the bottom of this wastebasket. Unfortunately, most of the writing is beyond recovery. The words station, meeting point, and emergency are all that can be discerned.
Ooh, maybe they had to put a body in storage. That would be fun.
A single footprint, size 10, tossball cleat-sized. The soil in this residue contains a very high concentration of oxygen. Well done, Inspector. The weather monitoring station at the pilot house substitutes for a terraformer. The soil in his footprint likely came from there.
About time you arrived. I see you haven't dressed the way I asked you to, but I suppose that was expecting too much of a non-industry lout. Expect a complaint to management. Now, unless you'd like to waste more of my time, I suggest we begin rehearsing. Ready? You've fallen right into my trap, Captain. Oh, don't bother to fight back. You cannot hope to stop me from installing philosophism as the system's reigning ideology. Oh, now that can't be in the script, is it? Now, is it warm in here? I must send for a mechanical to look at the thermostat. Wait a moment. You're not wearing a bellhop's ID, which must mean you're not Owen's understudy. That man can't even be relied upon to find his own replacement. Oh, no, this is curious indeed. Who are you, and how did you get in here? You're here to investigate me? Oh, I assure you, I'm nothing special. Just an old crook with more money than time. That was a quote from The Retiree's Revenge, in which I played an ex-thief turned decrepit old man. But, of course, I'm certain you already recognized it. Now, what shall I sign first? Your weapon? Your wallet? Or perhaps something a little more personal? Undergarment signatures have been popular of late, or so I've heard. I should think so. Signing things has always been a delight. I've even perfected the flourish on the end of the W. By the by, how did you get in here? The only non-staff individual cleared to enter guest rooms is supposed to be the inspector for Bellamy's murder. Oh. Hello. Hi. Terribly sorry, Inspector. I didn't realize it was you. Understand that I am beyond willing to comply with your search for the fiend that did Bellamy in. You know, now that I look at you, you're the perfect reflection of me, back when I starred in The Marauder's Bane, the absolute picture of justice. Ask me anything at all. I might even give you a straight answer. Certainly. But one quick question before we begin, if I may. How was it that Bellamy met her end? Oh, yes, I'm sure you must be overcome with emotion. Whatever the case, I hope she didn't suffer. Bellamy has been my co-star throughout the autumn of my career. I should like to think I knew her. In fact, I cannot name a single role in the last 10 years that did not involve her in some way, unless you count the uncredited silent shopkeep on Melissa's Meteoroids. I'll ask you this. If you'd been the star of cinema for years, then suddenly found yourself scrounging for bit parts while a younger person stole the limelight, how would you feel? In short, the two of us weren't close. But that's not to say my dislike of her was so extreme that I tried to do anything drastic. Resenting Bellamy is one thing, but killing her is another completely. It's also beneath me. Oh, come now, Inspector. What do you take me for? I'm an old man. I neither have the time nor the willpower to kill people for fun. Besides, I have my reputation to think of. I was meditating, of course. That's how I get into character. Respectfully, Inspector, it is rather counterproductive to commune with others while meditating. All actors have their methods, and this has been mine ever since I met that wonderful prophet of profitability. She taught me it for my role in The Unemployed Cometh. I had to lie face down on artificially heated pavement. The director wanted our suffering to be convincing. Needless to say, being able to leave my body helped to mitigate the pain, both during the 8-hour shoot and with the second-degree burns afterwards. I owe that woman much. Yeah, actually, only since I've been at the Colonial. The Unemployed Cometh was shot on site. That makes it, a few weeks. I cannot recommend her services enough. If you haven't been to see her yet, you really should. I'll answer whatever you wish. I suppose that is enough on that grim subject.
Initiating banter protocol. Now simulating familiar and welcoming demeanor. Burbage 3001 is trained to recognize all board-approved actors. Greetings, fellow star. Your performance in Maverick Johnston's latest drama was memorable. Burbage 3001's programming is frequently upgraded to adhere to board-certified standards. The most recent upgrade was performed by Spencer Woolrich. Banter protocol exhausted, reverting to default behavior, grieving and despair. Oh, Halcyon Helen, may your atoms be commended to the Aether. Burbage 3001 was designed to disrupt Halcyon Helen's monopoly over the Aetherwave serial market. This unit's programming is based on Helen's most famous roles. Burbage 3001. Anything Halcyon Helen can do, this unit can do slightly worse. This unit has been programmed to simulate existential dread. Watch Burbage 3001 contemplate its mortality in the critically acclaimed drama, Waiting for Results. This unit has not yet completed its grief cycles, randomizing despair tables. Oh, Helen, is there no justice in the world?
Aha! Always so nice to hear you, Inspector. I'll get you to your floor on the double. Next stop, the finest seat in the house.
I understand there was an incident at the orchards. The pollination cycle began without my authorization. Fortunately, you managed to save most of the hive. The wasp-ketos are essential to the orchards, you see. Losing them would have cost us months of production. The orchards can be a dangerous place, but my workers understand the hazards. Something about this incident troubles me. The circumstances are suspicious. But let's concentrate on the matter at hand. Have you discovered anything? You have my attention. That's deeply upsetting. Dr. Leora Blossom was an extraordinary scientist and a friend. We have a murderer on the loose, Inspector, as if the death of Halcyon Helen wasn't enough of a blow to our facility. Her commitment to her NDA was admirable. I'll make sure to accelerate the payout of her death benefits to her next of kin. Interesting. The Rizzo's family is a small family, Inspector. Most of us recognize one another. Still, any information is good information. It troubles me to believe Leora could have been murdered by one of our own. If there's anything else you'd like to share, you have my attention. Insisted. That's interesting. We'd scheduled a tour of the lab for Helen. Purely a public relations event to be held sometime in the indeterminate future. Then again, Helen and I were not well acquainted. I can't speak to her intentions. A picnic? I don't recall approving a private social gathering at the orchards. I'll have to make a note of this information. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. Was there anything else? That's troubling, to say the least. Any transfer of proprietary data is strictly prohibited without my permission. A clever deduction, Inspector. That gives us a little information to work with. Yes, I share your suspicions. Someone didn't want you following their trail. This feels like more than corporate espionage. Someone's playing with us, Inspector. And I have never in my life enjoyed games. Did you discover anything else? This incident at the orchards must be connected to Helen's murder somehow. I don't know how, but I feel it in my marrow. My apologies, Inspector. This case is under your jurisdiction, not mine. I leave it in your hands. When you're ready, I suggest a word with the hotel coroner. She should have finished her autopsy by now.
Aha! Always so nice to the...
Join us. You'll be happy you did. Who's laughing now?
Can't imagine.
Sure he's not in the museum.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Discrepancy detected. Rizzo's company policy clearly states that all proprietary mascots must exhibit signs of physical life. Excellent observation, Inspector. Have you deduced a possible cause of death? Unusually small entry wounds indicate exotic weaponry. Closest approximations are 1. Incident involving a game of darts. 2. The Needler. Yes, Inspector. The Needler. Bespoke handgun carried and wielded by Halcyon Helen. Famously deployed by Halcyon Helen in Terror on Monarch. This weapon was responsible for executing the Chief of the Savages, played by Spencer Woolridge. This unit is incapable of providing ethical advice. This unit is also incapable of answering rhetorical questions. Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. This empty bottle of spirits does not belong to any known corporate brand. Suspicious residue detected. Excellent deduction, Inspector. Imbibing of unauthorized beverages is strictly prohibited under Rizzo's company law. Ingredients include antiseptic alcohol, sucrose, and unidentifiable miscellaneous organic material. Closest match. Counterfeit spirits available at the Piraeus spaceport.
Inspector, good to see you. Let me just grant you access and... Welcome to the Piraeus spaceport.
Trouble ahead.
Hey, you! We've been looking for you, and by we, I mean Slug. Been real busy sniffing around Eridanos for clues, haven't you, Inspector? See, Sluglight Underground don't like that much.
Sluglight? That's a new one.
Should have kept your nose where it belonged, Inspector. Slug's sick of all your meddling in their affairs. Our affairs, I mean. We're... Draw, you damn breadworm, draw! What? Why ain't you doing nothing? You scared of us? Huh? Huh? Yeah, I'm sorry. We're sorry. Please don't hurt us. We're not bad people. We're just, confused. You don't need to tell us twice. Come on, all. Let's get the hell out of here.
Hey, you. I got something I need to speak with you.
What do you want? Shh! Not so loud! How'd you know it was me? Yeah, that makes sense. You must be a good one to sniff me out. I'm in no mood to sign autographs, and I hate disappointing fans. So I'm lying low. You know, incompleto.
Captain, are you blind? Have you been hiding your blindness from us this entire time?
Oh, what's it matter? Helen's gone. She's gone and nothing I do will bring her back. I've been trying to find who did this. That's what she would do. Track down the killer and bring them to justice. But I'm stumped. And not very clever. Being bright was always Helen's thing. Oh, so you're the inspector! Hope you have more luck figuring things out than me. You probably want to ask me some questions, huh? I'm sure you're asking everybody questions, so you can find Helen's killer. So, how do I help? I was getting blotto with the rest of the Rangers. You know, soaked, muddled, preserved.
Blutered, half shot, void lush, on the Byzantine swizzle, starry. 1 bit down, 3 bits up, spread across the spectrum. Top heavy. Should I go on?
The team noticed I was in a bad way when I got back to the hotel. When I told them Helen and I were Splitsville, they wanted to cheer me up. We were up the pole afore evening. The hotel staff said we was bothering the other guests on account of all the crying and yelling and practice body tackling. Zeke said we should move elsewhere, get some air. We ended up at the Wilderness Exploitation Reserve. I think somebody wanted to pet a woolly cow? There was this one cow off away from the others. Zeke figured it'd be a laugh to get her drunk. One thing led to another, and I think we might have maybe, you know, stolen her. I don't know. We were drunk, and we made bad choices. She was all alone. I know how that feels now. It's so hard to be all by your lonesome. My memory's a little muddled after that. I guess me and the team got split up, because I know I was on my own at the pilot house for a time. I reckon not. See, I went to the weather station. I was looking for where Helen stashed her datapad for safekeeping, right? She'd asked me to get it, mind. I wasn't stealing. I'm no thief. Nah, she sent a note to my hotel room before we, you know, split. I don't know how long it was sitting there before I noticed. Sure did. Only there was a guard out there who found me. She started yelling about how I was trespassing and in serious trouble. Thing is, it was real dark out there. So dark, she couldn't tell who I was. Long story short, I got out of there. Ran like the Rangers were down by 3, and I just bronzed the toss ball in the Friday zone. Yeah, I mean, no. Nope. No one else. I don't. All we did was talk, I swear. It's just... I don't want to tell you. I'll get in trouble. Look, I talked to Auric, okay? Auric West. Hangs out around the spaceport. He's the one who taught me the breathing exercises I use to calm down. That sounds like a good idea. So now you have the whole story. After I talked to Auric, I went back to the hotel. Woke up the next morning with Helen's datapad in my hand and the hangover to end all hangovers. Don't know if I'll ever drink again.
Sure. Get yourself a bit of taro blood, whisk it in a bowl with an egg and crushed caffeinoid, hold your nose and drink it straight.
A shot of Spectrum mixed in a Gigantor energy drink first thing in the morning. Works like a charm.
Oof, thanks, but I think I'll stick to, not that. Anyway, you ought to take Helen's datapad. Maybe you'll have better luck understanding her notes. Either she was writing in code or I'm dumber than a bag of hammers. I tried for hours to crack her notes, but it's like I said. Being bright was Helen's thing. Okay. And listen, I want to help you find her killer, Inspector. I knew Helen better than anybody. And it could be handy to have a guy like me around, in case anybody gives you trouble. I'm not threatening nobody. Gee, I'd try to help someone out. I'll head back to the Grand Colonial then. Unless you need me for anything else.